Well, Mary, thank you so much for joining. It's a pleasure to speak with you. Can you maybe start just giving your background of just like your career, obviously as an agent, and leading up to, your time on the show Selling Sunset? Can you just walk people through your career?
Yeah, so I got my license back in 2008. It was probably the worst time to get your real estate license because the market like crashed but I actually did quite well within the first year. So during that market, that wasn't too bad. I think that kind of made me realize you really do have to work for it. It wasn't easy, and a lot of people couldn't get loans, couldn't qualify for things at that point because they finally stopped throwing mortgages and loans to everybody. It made it interesting. I was down in the South Bay, which was Palos Verdes, Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach, Redondo Beach, that kind of area in California. Stayed down there for a few years and then moved to Aurora Hills, and then I went to London, New York, and then back here. So I kind of moved all over.
And so I guess just now flash forwarding to today, you're on Selling Sunset and you're obviously selling real estate in Los Angeles. This has been described as like probably one of the hottest sellers markets in, a generation. And I guess my question is, how and what has changed since 2008 to put us here? Talking about Los Angeles specifically.
A lot has changed. But I would say recently is when we've seen since the pandemic, weirdly, I don't think anybody knew what to expect. Los Angeles is always a very stable market. Lately, since the pandemic, it's out of control. You cannot find a property without 30 offers being in on it. It's going way over asking. There's so many. If it's under 3 million, it's a bidding war.
Have you ever seen a market like this hot in your career?
Not at all. Not even close. At least I think still in the super high luxury homes, you can still find, good deals and you can negotiate. If it's, I would say 3 million and under, really even probably 4 million and under now, but there's not a chance. It's like you're lucky if you get it at asking price. You're probably paying quite a bit more and bidding against a lot of other people, removing contingencies that you should probably keep just to get it.
How has technology also changed like your business? Obviously, when when a customer first discovers a home that they're interested in buying, and then the whole process of, getting a mortgage, applying for a mortgage, getting home insurance, getting title insurance, I imagine that tech has intervened, right, in different parts of that to make your life and their life better. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I can't even imagine going back to how it was when I first started. I remember pulling out of the file cabinets, pulling documents out of the filing cabinet to write an offer. I'm like, from writing an offer, docu-signing everything. You can do everything on your phone. Like if I'm out, I'm like, okay, no problem. Let me write up this counter offer, put it in docu-sign, send it over. They sign it. I'm like, done. Offer done. It can happen that fast.
And what's so interesting is technology is obviously, changing the way people first find their dream home and then obviously finance it and interact with their broker and exchange offers on a home.
Now buyers are, because they do their research. Sometimes it makes my job easier. Sometimes it makes it much harder when they're convinced that the Zestimate thing on Zillow, their homes are worth so much more than it is or whatever.
And I guess I'm curious, did you see during the pandemic that, the shift to doing everything in your home, or it's like your home went from being just the place you live to the place where you do your children's schooling, where you do your workouts, where you do your shopping from. It became this kind of it just consumed our lives. Did that put more emphasis for people on, I need a single family home that accommodates my life and everything in a way that shifted from pre-pandemic?
Yeah, absolutely. I saw it from the selling standpoint, and then Romain, he does construction. He's a project manager, and so they were just as busy as I was. He and I, we were never in our home because we were out doing so much for everybody else, because his market was booming. There were so many people remodeling their homes, and then so many people moving and buying homes. So yeah, there was a huge shift.
For someone who's looking at a home, what is that moment that you see where they fall in love with the home? Like, can you identify that? Is that a twinkle in their eye, or is it a look, a gaze they have that makes you realize they've fallen in love with this house?
It depends on the client. Sometimes they're kind of tricky. I think most of the time you kind of get a feel for it, like where they're just kind of like, "That's nice," and some of them will try to hold it in, but you can see that they're like, because they don't want to give too much away to the other agent. Sometimes they say they love it, and they're like, "Oh, this is my favorite. It's my favorite," and then they get on the phone, they're like, "I hated it." What? I was like, "Wait, okay." People are just in a panic right now too, because they'll go in, they're like, "Yeah, I love it. Let's write an offer on this one. Can we see this one? Let's write an offer on this one too." And it's like, okay, slow down. Like, if you see a house, everyone's just in this craze right now where they need to move. They really like multiple homes, so let's just try for one of them, see which one sticks. I'm writing offers like probably 3 a day. Pretty crazy.
I think just like it's so interesting to discuss how, technology is changing the process of falling in love with a home and discovering a home for the first time. And, I'd love to just, continue the discussion almost around like how tech changes what people want from their home. And you're kind of at the epicenter of all of that. So just thanks for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you.
You too. Thanks, Mary.